Hi everybody, this video is building on one of my previous videos, how to learn to speak fluent Chinese, and I'll concentrate in this video on how to improve your listening ability. Now, let's just say, for example, that you've completed a beginner's course in Chinese. For example, the FSI Chinese course, which I recommended, or the Pimsleur Chinese, or maybe Teach Yourself Chinese, or Asimil Chinese. And after this you want to improve your listening ability in Chinese. So in the description to this video I've recommended some intermediate listening materials and advanced listening materials, although there are many other materials that you can find on the internet. Now, as with any language, you need to find materials of the right level, and Professor Arguelles has done a great video about improving your ability in languages from an intermediate level on YouTube. You can find that video. But effectively, what you need to do is find materials which are what Stephen Krashen, the famous second language acquisition expert, calls the +1 level, which means they need to be a little bit harder than what you already know. So, for example, if you can find a listening material and you can understand, let's say, 60, 70, 80% of it, that would be quite useful for your learning. There'll be some new things to learn, but it won't be too ambitious. If you can only understand less than 50% of what you're hearing, then you'll probably find that not only will it not be productive to listen to that material at that time, but also you'll get very frustrated because you're not understanding hardly anything. So you need to find materials at the right level. And as you get more advanced in listening to any language, especially Chinese, you need to tune your ear to the rhythm of the language, and extensive listening will help you with this. And Chinese is made up of individual syllables, effectively, which each syllable is the pronunciation of one character, and you'll find that as you listen carefully you can hear these syllables separately. So let's say that you hear a word in your listening that you don't understand. Now, I'm not going to talk about typing in Chinese in this video. There are many other tutorials for that on the internet. Let's say you've downloaded this program, Dim Sum Chinese Tools, and you hear the word, and you can type it in using pinyin. Let's say, for example, you hear the word jian cha, and you don't know what this word means. We can type it in, jian cha. Now we just need to type in the pinyin for the word. We don't need the tones here. So we'll find that if we use Google Pinyin or Sogo Pinyin as the input method, the most common words normally come up first. So let's select the first word here, and then we'll find that if we move our mouse over the word, we can see the meaning for it. So this word means inspect or examine. Okay, so if you think that's not the right word, we can also type it in again, look at the second word. Maybe this is the right one, to supervise. But from the context of your listening, you'll generally you'll be able to find out which is the probable word that you've heard. So you can just, using this method, you can just from hearing new words, you can learn what they mean, and you can find out the meaning very quickly, which will enable you to understand a lot more of what you're listening to. So let's take another example. Let's say a very simple word, but you don't know what it is. 学习. We can type in this, select it with number 1, and then we can see a meaning if we put our mouse over the word, to learn or to study. So this method will enable you to find the meaning of words that you're listening to very carefully, and by doing this more and more, and by training your ear, you will find that you can understand more and more of what you're listening to. You can also take words which you've learnt, and you can add them to your Anki, which is a character or a flashcard software. So we can paste that in, and we can type in the pinyin for this, jian cha, to inspect or examine, so we can add that to our database by clicking add there. And test us on the vocabulary that we're learning. Another software package that I like to use is Wenlin. So for this we can also use the same method to use a pinyin input method to type in a word, or let's say, take another example, 确认, to confirm or affirm. So as we're listening we can look up words live and we can expand our knowledge of Chinese vocabulary very, very quickly. Another thing that you can do with this program Wenlin is if you don't use the input pinyin method for typing, you can also type directly into this program. So let's use the same word, 检查. And then if you press the / key, you can use Wenlin's internal dictionary to look up words. So here we go. So there you have it. An easy way to look up words while you're listening to Chinese and to increase your listening ability very, very quickly by looking up words, adding them to your flashcard list, and increasing your vocabulary very quickly. So this is what I used to do while I was learning Chinese full time. I used to listen to podcasts, Chinese pod and BBC Chinese every day, and I used to use this method, just listening, and when I found keywords that I didn't know, I would always look them up using this method and learn the words appropriately. In fact, even though I've been learning for over 5 years, I still use this method all the time when I'm learning to check the meanings of words. You can also use this program here, lingoes, which is very, very useful. So let's say you can type in the word to here as well, and this is another dictionary software that you can use. Okay, hope this is useful to you in your Chinese language learning. Any questions, leave a comment. Thanks a lot.